The entire quick commerce economy in India runs on one big assumption that the supply will always be there. You open Blinkit, place an order, and trust that someone somewhere has it figured out how to make it possible. The system is steady, predictable, and almost self running. But over the last 6 months, one part of that system, called Hyperpure, has been thrown into an existential crisis. Hyperpure is the business to business arm of Eternal, the company that owns both Blinkit and the food delivery platform Zomato. It supplies raw materials and kitchen essentials to restaurants, and it also supplied fresh fruits and vegetables to Blinkit. Naturally, for years, the two businesses were closely intertwined. In the financial year 2025, more than 60% of Hyperpure's revenue came from Blinkit alone. So, as Blinkit surged ahead, contributing nearly three-fourths to Eternal's total revenue and surpassing the food delivery business in net order value by 2026, Hyperpure was expanding alongside. Since 2018, its top line grew fivefold. And then, about 6 months ago, Blinkit decided no more sourcing from Hyperpure. And this came after the foreign direct investment rules were revised in India. Eternal became an India owned and controlled company with FDI capped at 49.5%. And this allowed Eternal to own its inventory directly. So it began sourcing on its own. By the December quarter of last year, it had largely stopped buying fruits and vegetables from Hyperpure. As a result, Hyperpure's revenue more than halved in 2 quarters. The two businesses that once operated almost as one are now separating their books. And like my colleague Nuha Bubere said in her report, it takes a lot to come out looking like a winner while letting your biggest customer walk away. Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Snigdha Sharma, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Rachel Varghese and I will come to you with one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Tuesday, the 17th of February. Hyperpure began 8 years ago when Eternal, then known as Zomato, acquired Wo2 Technologies. Initially, the focus was supplying restaurants connected to the food delivery platform. But as Blinkit scaled, Hyperpure's role expanded. It became the primary fresh produce supplier to the quick commerce arm. And this mirrored Eternal's broader shift. The company evolved from a food delivery business experimenting with groceries into an e-grocer that also delivers food. So, Blinkit became the growth engine for Eternal. But before becoming Blinkit's supplier, Hyperpure relied heavily on vendors. Category managers negotiated daily for better prices. Rates changed frequently and margins were tight. Blinkit's scale changed that dynamic. It pushed Hyperpure to tighten procurement and improve efficiency. And Hyperpure responded by building infrastructure. Today, it operates over 30 warehouses and 100 collection centers compared to just fewer than 10 warehouses 3 years ago. The goal was to reduce intermediaries. You see, produce typically moves from farmer to aggregator to mandi to vendors before reaching you and I. Each layer increases the cost. By sourcing more directly, Hyperpure aimed to protect its margins. Blinkit's large volumes made those investments viable. And then came the regulatory shift after the government revised the foreign direct investment rules. Eternal restructured in 2025, capping FDI at 49.5% to qualify as an Indian-owned and controlled company. And that enabled it to own its inventory directly. By the December quarter, Hyperpure's revenue fell sharply, more than halving to 1,000 crore rupees over 2 quarters. Interestingly, though, the efficiency improvements pushed by Blinkit moving away helped Hyperpure improve its EBITDA margin, leading to profitability. But profitability without scale presents a different kind of a challenge. Internally, the separation introduced complexity. By the second quarter, the 50-member Hyperpure team that sourced for Blinkit was disbanded. Members were moved into a new team called Hyblink, dedicated solely to sourcing for Blinkit. These people remain on Hyperpure's payroll, but the inventory they procure now sits on Blinkit's profit and loss statement. A manager described the arrangement to my colleague Nuha as kind of dicey. Employees sit on the same floor, but financial accountability is split. Under Hyperpure CEO Rishi Arora, the plan is to separate operationally from Blinkit and build a profitable restaurant-focused business. Meanwhile, Blinkit's Albinder Dhinsa is set to become Eternal CEO. So now, Hyperpure has to redefine itself. More on this in the next segment. Before the separation, Blinkit sourced between 150 to 200 metric tons of fresh produce per day from Hyperpure. That volume influenced everything: procurement cycles, pricing leverage, and warehouse utilization. And replacing it is the central challenge. Hyperpure is experimenting with contract farming for regular vegetables such as tomato and onions to stabilize the supply. It is also expanding procurement of exotic vegetables like broccoli and bell pepper. Margins vary significantly. Indian vegetables offer 8 to 10%, while exotic vegetables offer 20 to 25%. The company aims to fix exotic vegetable prices for about a month to reduce the volatility. And beyond produce, Hyperpure is broadening its catalog. It now supplies brownies, croissants, and frozen kebabs to hotel, restaurant, cafe partners. It is also opening a plant in Manesar, Haryana to supply chutneys and sauces. It has also started setting up super express stores across cities, offering deliveries between 45 minutes and 4 hours depending on the location. Today, Hyperpure serves over 30,000 restaurants across 14 cities and is targeting onboarding 50 new food processors. It also already processes products for Cheddars in Mumbai and is looking to add Baskin Robbins. A manager believes that these brands can help offset the loss of Blinkit's volumes. The supply chain manager, though, is cautious. Losing 150 to 200 metric tons per day represents a significant structural shift. It will take time to determine whether Hyperpure can rebuild comparable scale. Margins have improved, volume growth remains uncertain, and Blinkit is meanwhile growing at 120% annually. Hyperpure's situation is simply not about managing costs. It is about whether a business built to serve a fast-growing sibling can survive after that sibling decides to grow alone.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings, and a full subscription offers daily, long-form feature stories, newsletters, and a whole bunch of premium podcasts. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted and produced by my colleague Snigdha Sharma and edited by Rajiv CN.